Welcome and bienvenue and welcome back to the modding of Isaac with Lyte. And after last episode with creating new characters, I bet you're all chomping at the bit to modify that character's base stats. Well, that's what we're doing today, and I'm actually going to provide you code that you can copy and paste, because I know not all of you are really going to watch all of my series and do all the Lua, so you might want to be able to just do a little bit of light Lua to get your character off the ground, because if you can't change the stats, why did you even change the character? So I will provide a paste bin down in the description that you can just follow the link. It'll have all the code there, all nice and commented and everything, just as you see it in this episode. So don't worry, if you haven't done any Lua before, you won't need to after this either. For the rest of you, I am going to explain exactly how it works. But first, let's see it in action. So let's get started. It's in the new skin mod that we set up last time with our good friend Lorem in it. Because before, all we did was we made him look pretty cool and show up in that carousel. If you notice right now, he's moving his little legs. That's because he can fly. If you look over on the left-hand side, you'll see our speed is slightly reduced. Our shot speed is abysmal, but our damage is pretty darn good. And our luck is up by 1, and our tiers are green. But that's not all. They're also spectral. And given the low shot speed, it's hard to tell, but they're also homing. That's right, I'm going to show you how to add tier effects in this episode as well, despite not having a complete enumeration of them. So they're green, but not poisonous. They are homing and spectral. Right from the start of the game, I didn't give myself any items. I did not turn off the HUD on the right. I just have no items. So let's... yeah, this is some pretty rockin' out music. We'll leave this music running when we head over to our desktop. So we're not going to type in the code this time. All we're going to do is I'm going to show you that in your mod, all you need is main.lua. So you make a text document, you open it up in Notepad++ or ZeroBrain Studio or whatever you've got that can edit text, and save it as main.lua in the base of your mod. That's the very absolute basics of getting your Lua started. You just make an empty file, and then you paste all of this into it from the paste bin. So you need to change this part that's in quotations to match your mod's name. I called mine new skin, yours might be the name of your character. So if you've got Vlad, you've got a vampire character. You put Vlad here. And I have a little quote, comment here saying, James Barton quotes, match your mod name. Here, we've got Lorem, because that's the name of my character. I'd recommend you change every instance of Lorem to the name of your character. So if we want to make this Vlad, we just go to find and replace Lorem with Vlad, everywhere. No spaces, can't start with a number, but anything else is fair game, and then you hit replace all. Et voila, Lorem is now Vlad. Wahahaha. Supposing we actually set up Vlad properly when we made the character. This entire thing is assuming you've made the character already. You watched the previous episode. So that's Vlad everywhere. And then each of these stats is relative to Isaac's starting stat. Until we get down to flying, tier flag, and tier color. So this damage equals 2, that is +2. So instead of being the normal 3.5, it becomes 5.5. This way, you don't have to know what Isaac's base stats necessarily are. You just know you want 2 more damage than Isaac. So you want Isaac with curved horn. And then speed is your movement speed, shot speed, yeah. Tier height and falling speed are combined to make your range. Anything that is positive here should increase your range. Even though we'll see a negative later, these will increase your range. And then luck, you just add 1 to their luck and you're good to go. Flying, if you just set it to true, voila, you can fly. If you set it to false, you can still gain flying later, but you just don't start with it. Now for the fun bit. tier flag. This is where you can give your tiers special properties. Now, it's not like the creep drop that you get from Mysterious Liquid. That's a whole other thing, where you detect that the tier has hit them, and then you spawn an effect under them. Whole other thing, I think. Fairly confident. And then you set the tier flag, and it's a binary flag. I know you might not have watched the episode where we talked about binary flags, but if you give it 1, it becomes spectral. If you give it 2, it becomes piercing. So if you give it 3, it is both piercing and spectral. And then you skip to 4, because 1, 2, 4, 8. 4 is homing. So 5 is 4 and 1, which is homing and spectral. So then what's 6? Think. That's right. With 6, you get 4 and 2, which is homing and piercing. 7 is all of them, and then 8 gets to the next one in the list. I haven't enumerated all of the tier effects, and it doesn't look like they're available in the enumerations we're given in the documentation. It seems like a major oversight, but it's true. The only thing that we have is tier variant, and that's blue blood tooth metallic Bob's head. No, that's not what we need. So hopefully for next episode, I'm just going to go through all of those and get all of the variants. For now, for the end of the episode, let's give him all of them. This is all of the possible tier flags in the entire game. This is, every bit is on for, let's see, 8, 16, 32 bits. So if there are 32 tier effects, I have all of them. It'll be fun. And then tier color uses the color function. Covered this in an early episode, but I'll go over it again. The first 3 are tints: red, green, and blue. So what this does is it takes out all of the red, leaves all of the green, and takes out all of the blue. RGB. Has to be between 0 and 1, and it will not create a color that isn't there. So if it's black, you get nothing. This middle one is the alpha. That's the transparency. Between 0 and 1, 0 is completely invisible. 0.5, pretty ghostly. 1, totally opaque. These last 3 are offsets. If you need to add a color that isn't there, then you add a number that is a positive whole number. From 1 to 255, you add it on top of what's already there, which grays out all the shadows, or greens out, or reds out all of the shadows, all the dark. You'll never have black in something with an offset. So I tend to stick to the tints whenever possible, particularly when the base is white. Because when it's white, it's perfect. You can tint it down into whatever color you need. So if you're thinking about something for your mod in the future that might need to shift colors, start it out white and then tint it as necessary. So this is just setting up what happens down here. All it is a simple evaluate cache callback, because when you start a run, it evaluates all the caches. All of them. Right away, you don't need to call anything fancy. So you say evaluate cache, I attach it to the character instead of to the mod. It doesn't really matter. And then if your player's name is your player's name, so substitute Vlad here is necessary, then you check all of the cache flags. If the cache flag is damage, you add your damage. Or your tiers. You'll notice I didn't mention tiers here anywhere. It's because the max fire rate thing is wonky and broken and stupid. Don't touch it yet. We'll eventually be able to do it. I promise you. We will eventually be able to make tiers work the way they should. Right now, don't touch them. Shot speed, perfectly fine. Shot speed, shot speed. Range is tier height and tier falling speed. You subtract the tier height because negative is up. I've covered this before, but negative is up. Speed, move speed and speed. Luck, luck, luck. Flying, c'est la vie. Tier flag, tier flag, tier color, tier color. There's no offset for the tier flags or tier colors, because this is a new character at the beginning of a run. You might want to do player dot tier flags or lorem tier flag, just in case somehow you give them an item that gives them a tier effect before you can apply the player tier effects. Or if you make them like Eden and they start out with Spoonbender. So this is an improvement. I think I'm going to add this to the paste. Just to make sure that it is, you know, appropriate. Like, it does exactly what we think it should. So we're going to add that to the paste. And we're good to go. Sorry if you didn't actually see that happening. You don't really need to. And then the tier color is the tier color. Even if you got some other tier color, you want to replace it with the one you want. And then the callback is like every callback. So if you're here just for the code, just take the code. If you want to know how it works, you already know how MC Evaluate Cache works. This is just running it at the very, very beginning of the run. And you might not have seen these two before. They do, in fact, have their own cache. Tier color doesn't say it needs it in the documentation, but do it anyway. And that's all there is to it. Nice short episode. All of this code is available on Pastebin. Look down in the description. Oh wait, I was going to show you what it looks like with all of the tier flags. So let's head over into Isaac. Let's toggle that mod. Let's see what it looks like with all the tier flags. All of them. Ooh, we got a big room. Big rooms are better for this. So let's get somewhere near the middle and fire one tier. So yeah, it goes a little ham. Because it's got everything. It's got tiers that make more tiers, that lead to explosions. Or maybe the explosions make more tiers, but there's Ipecac in there, and glitter bombs such that you gain collectibles when things happen. Head of the Keeper. Everything is in there all at once. And it's bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. But quite entertaining. So I will see you in the next episode of the Modding of Isaac with Lyte.